Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of PIP, People in Property, with myself, Adil Niazi at Key Property Consultants. Today we've got Adam Hindley, who's travelled all the way down from Leeds to discuss all things property. He covers development, sourcing, furnishing, service accommodation, pretty much everything. So it's all in one shop, but different and segregated companies. Adam, thank you for coming down.
Thank you very much, mate. Yeah, so like I say, it's like basically what I try to do is create a hands-off service for anyone that works with me, all the kind of investors and people that I work with. I specialise in, as you mentioned, service accommodation, so the shorter term stays, but actually recently I've been really focusing on driving like more medium term stays, so like relocators, insurance stays and things like that, and contractors and other companies that utilise short term stays for that kind of thing. And it's basically allowed me to generate income for investors as like almost like a buy to let in terms of management style, because you're getting longer term stays, but then you're getting like a 25-30% yield, so it's
Brilliant. Higher investment.
Yeah, it's like three times over market value rents for certain.
Brilliant. So you've gone from short-term investing where it's like nights to weeks to maybe a month, to like sort of like 1 to 6 month stays. Is that right?
So it's like anything I class as like a medium-term stay in terms of anything over a week to like 90 days, something along the lines of that. Going past that's more longer term. So. Generating stays and leads coming into the business like that has been massive for us, really. And whether it's like rent to rent, whether it's like BRR and like developments too, whether it's just kind of purchase too, it's like we work on all kind of aspects to get to that exit strategy and end goal of service accommodation. And
Brilliant.
Allowing to do that, we've got build team, we've got sourcing team, we've got management team, so it's like we can create a hands-off process for
sounds good
to do it.
Before we delve into that a little bit more further, tell me a little bit about how your journey began. Was you doing property? Did you start in property? What was you doing before?
Yeah, so
was doing something.
I started in property 10 months ago.
Oh, so short term.
Yeah, but it's like the last like 5 to 8 years of my life I've been in business. I've got a degree in physiotherapy.
Okay.
So I had my own physiotherapy business for a while. Transitioned that during COVID to like online and learned a lot more about CRMs and client management and funnels and all this kind of marketing stuff that you need for business. And then I actually joined up with 2 other guys and we started a business called A Consultancy, which was all about health and wellbeing.
Right.
So that was like going into corporate businesses and like teaching execs how to manage the mental health, physical health, diet, nutrition and stuff like that.
And their team and stuff.
Yeah, their team and doing things like that. But I also always thought in my head, I'm the asset here. I'm the thing that's getting paid. If I'm a physio, people are paying me £40 an hour for my time. Yeah. Up north, that is a microphone down here.
Yeah.
But they're paying me for my time, and there's always a ceiling to that.
Yeah.
I can never go past a certain point unless I drive myself into the ground.
Yeah.
Running a health and wellbeing business, you're kind of a hypocrite if you're driving yourself into the ground and burning yourself out. So I was like, I need to look at something where I'm not the asset. So in that business, I would look at maybe like online courses and things like that, which like multiple people can buy at the same time.
Yes.
But then the other guys that I were working with didn't want to do that. So I was like, right, we're getting this conflict of interest here. Like, you're wanting to do this, I'm wanting to do that.
Part ways.
Yeah, part ways. They bought me out of the business, sold my shares, and then that was just August, just gone. So 10 months ago from now.
Yeah.
And then that's when I got involved in property education and went to like some of the courses and stuff like that. And then invested in myself quite heavily.
Okay.
Over 10 grand, done about 15 grand so far in just education and learning about it, and then just implementing all the other skills that I've had from previous life and putting that into property in terms of marketing, managing clients, sales and all this other stuff, and building a business. Whereas a lot of people when they're starting property may have to learn how to learn property, learn business, learn accounts, learn lead, all these other things. Whereas I had a basic understanding of all the business side of it. Yeah. I just had to drop property into the mix.
Okay, so you was already well versed in the back end side of business, if you like.
Yeah.
Because you've had business for several years already, but just be in a different industry and different space.
Yeah, exactly.
So being well versed in that obviously has helped you grow quicker, because right, I need to make sure my cash flow's on point.
Yeah.
I need to make sure my business plan's on point, and all the logistics that go with it.
Yeah.
So you say you sort of built a team now of people that do different things. So have you delegated things out, or do you do everything yourselves? Obviously, another thing you're saying, time management. Obviously, people pay for your time, but obviously, if you can buy the time, you can do a lot more.
How
are you doing your operations?
So a lot of it works quite well. So with my kind of how I market, and a lot of it's through social media and things like that. Obviously,
It's time I found you actually.
yeah. It's not like my presence is limited to my patch where I work and I invest, which is like Yorkshire and the Northwest, so like Leeds, Manchester, Liverpool areas. So that's primarily where I manage and I do work myself. But I've sourced properties and worked with people all over the country because I have this presence now. So I have a team of sources, around 700 people.
Oh wow.
That have like been to the trading networks, want to get into it, but don't maybe have the presence or the marketing skills that I do.
Right.
So I get investors coming from this side that say, I want something in Brighton.
Okay.
And I go, guys, I've got an investor who's really hot. He wants something in Brighton, rent service accommodation, for example.
Right.
These team of 700 people know I've got an investor that's ready to pay us for that. They go off, and if they can bring me a deal that matches it, I put the two together. We split
They take
the
your
fee.
share. They take your share.
So it's like, it's literally arbitrage that I'm literally being the middleman.
Yeah,
But
literally.
it is. But it allows me to like help other people get into the space as well, which I'm really passionate about.
Okay.
And it allows me to then give investors a good opportunity at the same time. Obviously, I go through, and there's a key vetting process in terms of the deals, looking at imagery and videos of the property and whatnot, and stacking up the cash flow and that kind of thing. But a lot of the times at the minute, I think especially service accommodation world, if anyone's doing like Airbnbs and things like that, it's getting so saturated now that
Absolutely right.
if you think that the world of getting a property, putting it on Airbnb, and suddenly I'm a millionaire, it doesn't exist.
No.
So it's like, that's why I kind of say that the medium term stay, like, it's kind of almost like another add-on to the business now, is like what I call as like advanced SA marketing.
Okay.
So like how you market your property to, well, not even market your property, how you think about your property and flip the model around. You're not putting it on Airbnb and hope someone stays. You're thinking, who is the ideal guest to stay in my property? And then
you're working it backwards, basically.
Yeah.
Working it from the center. Who's my end client? Doing and niching it back and saying, all right, this client looks for, I don't know, specifically in Leeds, you know, in a certain location in Leeds. And if we could take something on, we know we're going to get, I don't know, 3 to 6 months of bookings in that area. And the rest of it can be done at Airbnb because we're already getting the cash flow, and that's sort of like the cream on the cherry on the top, mate.
Yeah. So it's like, let's take it for example, I've just taken a new property on in Leeds, a really nice 2-bedroom apartment in the city centre, and I thought, okay, who's going to be the perfect client for this that's going to do a longer term stay? Probably someone like a lawyer, or someone who is maybe relocating to the area and isn't quite settled and got their own place sorted yet. So might need 4 weeks, 2 months to get settled and everything in the new job and find a place to stay. So, okay, well, how am I going to get that person? So I contact recruitment firms in the area. Have you got anyone that you're recruiting for a new job that is potentially moving cities and needs somewhere to stay in the interim before they're getting stuff sorted? Contact estate agents and go like, I know that there's someone that may have like sold the house recently. So but they might be in the middle of a chain, so their house might have completed, but this one, their new house hasn't sold yet. What they're going to do in that 6 weeks that they need.
You've got the solution for their problem.
Solution there. So I'm going into these places with a problem, and
a solution to that problem. Yeah. You're going in there with a solution to a problem that you potentially have.
I'm creating a problem for them, but I've already got the solution for.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And that essentially is a really good sort of like a marketing strategy and a business model as such, because these problems, they're rife. These things happen all the time. Like with the chains, as you mentioned, people relocating, not sure exactly where they want to stay. So if you've got that idea and that knowledge already, and you've got the business model that sort of works around that, you've essentially got the theory, the cash flow theory sorted, and they're like, you know what, Adam's created a solution. Now they can come to you in the future as well, and you're building that relationship as such.
It's like I've got, like I said, my area is like Yorkshire and Northwest, so Harrogate is a really good area in North Yorkshire for me as well. And I've just got a relocator. They've come through an estate agent. The estate agent passed our details on to them. The person's contacting us. They're coming over from Australia. They need a place to let furniture comes. A 4 week stay, $4,500 is what they've paid. It's like a kind of buy to let money you get into that. It's like literally they're moving in. We send the cleaners in once 2 weeks.
I'm not sure what the rental market price around there, but it sounds like maybe
we pay $1,500 for the rent on that.
Oh, there we go. So you're looking at like three months worth of rent pretty much coming in straight away the month. So you know that you got yourself covered for 3 months. And if you don't have someone to stay, but obviously you're not going to fall into that position. You have someone lined up potentially as soon as they go, if they don't want to extend, that is, and then go from there. That's awesome. That's awesome. So what kind of problems would you say you may have faced along this journey? Because obviously you're still quite new. Although you're doing well, you must have faced some problems along the way.
Yeah, of course. I think there's always problems, and it's how you react to the problems, which is important. Like I say, when you first start taking on properties, like I've got 11 properties that I'm managing service accommodation now, and it's like when I started out, the problem was that I couldn't get anyone to agree to me, and then the new problem was like, oh, now I've got too many people to agree to me. I ain't got enough money to put into the properties.
Yeah.
So it's like, and that's why I've adapted this model now of like people putting the money in, I create the process and create the hands-off element of it, and then I manage it at the end as well. But it's like, then you have a new problem of, oh, now I've got all these properties, I ain't got people to stay in the properties.
Right.
And then you've got a new problem of, I've got all these people that want to stay in my properties, but I ain't got no properties for the people to stay. So it's like, there's always going to be problems, and it's just about overcoming them. Like I had one person book that longer term stay in Harrogate, and then another person inquired and said, I want to stay for 4 weeks. I'm like, right, I've got people asking, these are good long-term stays, like good leads. Yeah. I've got no property left to put people in, so I had to go to Harrogate and try and go into agents and be like, look, I need a property, like ASAP, kind of thing.
Have you maybe thought of another sort of maybe solution for that kind of problem? Have you ever thought of maybe JVing with other people that do SA, the service accommodation side, say, look, I've got the client, you've got the property, instead of you having the full thing, I'll manage my client, but let's make an agreement.
Yeah, I mean that's the what I'm trying to. Anyway, if I can find my own property, amazing. If I can't, then it's something I've put stays out there through the inquiries that we've got. I've been like, look, I've got someone who wants 3 weeks in this area. Can anyone facilitate it? And I haven't actually worked with anyone on that yet, but
that can develop as well.
It's an option that is there.
Of course, wicked. That sounds great. What would you say has been like the best part of your journey so far within this sort of service accommodation side of things?
I think the mindset that I've taken towards actually, when I first started and first going to the training and started looking at sourcing, for example, because I spent the money that I got from selling my old business, I spent that on education. So I had nothing really to invest. So like, property sourcing is the foundation of everything that you need to be a property investor. Finding good deals is the key. So you find a good deal, you can sell it, or if you find a really good deal, you can keep it, kind of thing. But if you haven't got the capital there, that's a really good way to generate it. And I remember the first time that I saw like a £3,000 sourcing fee hit my bank account.
That was nice.
Yeah. And then I had a moment where I got the first month-long booking, and I was like, that was 3.5k that booking on the particular property, and I was like, that kind of changed it in my head. Just been like, this short-term stay stuff is annoying and it's painful, where people come in for a weekend and then I've got like nothing for the rest of the week and that kind of thing. So, and then and because your calendar's filling up with all these 1 and 2 night stays, you can't get the longer bookings. So
what happens with that, sorry to cut you off, with the shorter term stays is you've got still to do the cleaning, you've got to do, the linen stuff, and then so basically you're actually having more expense on the shorter term stuff, so your profit margin is actually decreasing. So with the longer term stuff, when someone's in the 4 weeks, you're not going in every 2 or 3 days, or maybe if you don't go into the team in to do all the cleaning, you still have to pay for it. It's time. So
that's it. It's the time that it takes. Like I say, I do have a team. I don't go into any of my properties really at the minute, but it's like, so I have that systemized in a way, but it is the communication with the team. Like, we've got another booking, there's this booking, can you make sure this is done? Can you put the zip beds to do this kind of thing? It's like, there is a lot of communication that goes back and forth in terms of that. And it's like, if we can just get the longest term stays in,
logistics get easier, don't they?
That's it. So that specialization in that medium to longer term stays is...
You mentioned you have some other avenues that you do things. What other things that you have other businesses? I think was it furnishing?
Yeah, so I've got so there's 3 key companies that I kind of work with, and they all link together really well. So there's Sourced Properties, which is my sourcing business. So this is where, again, we primarily work on what we class as super rent strategies. So your HMOs and your serviced accommodation.
And you sell those deals on?
Yeah, we sell these deals on. So we find these properties, or other people within my team find these properties. Yeah. I put them out to our investor list, or I work with people bespoke sometimes as well. So if they want a particular thing in a particular area, I'll take a bespoke fee and we'll work with them to find what they want. But that's the sourcing business. It kind of sources the investment opportunity there in the first place. So we tend to use that one as like the foundation of being like, then we've got like your upsells or your add-ons that you can put in with the other one. So if you saw a property that I sourced and you thought, really like this, I've got my build team in place and my management, I can do it, it's fine. Sweet, you can buy that and
do it yourself.
You're done. Or I've got my second business, which is Hindley Estates, which is the building firm, basically, our staging, furnishing and project management company.
Okay, nice.
So that allows us to do refurbs, it allows us to furnish and stage properties and things like that. And obviously for us, it allows us to then take a project management fee along the way as well. So we're taking a sourcing fee and the project management fee.
Nice.
And then if you want that, and that's fine, you want to run it on Airbnb or you want to find your own tenants for your HMO, fine, you do that. If you want us to then manage that as an exit, then again, we're taking another fee for
a free funnel kind of.
Yeah. So it allows people to be as hands-on or as hands-off as they want.
Nice.
So we can basically go like, okay, well, here's the property, we'll build it, we'll manage it. It's done, it's your property, it's in your name, but we're taking our fee along the way. Obviously, like I say, I'm not even a year into my property journey with it yet. My business partner that I work with has got 25 years of trades experience. So whereas I'm the face, marketing, sales and negotiations and kind of things, he's the man behind it all on the ground, doing the project management, doing the work, which he's got loads of experience in. So you're kind of a perfect partnership in that.
Yeah.
That kind
We
of
obviously discussed OPM, which is obviously other people's money. For people that don't know, OPM stands for other people's money. So you take obviously investors that have money sitting in the bank, not earning any interest, or if it is, it's very minimal. And you go and sort of do the projects for them. Have you done like the B-triple-R strategies where have you where they buy the projects and then you refurbish it and then
So that again, we always look at the buy, refurb, refinance. We always look at doing the finding the property that works. Obviously, trying to recycle as much money as we possibly can in terms of the end value that we can get it and the obviously trying to get them below market value or for accepted and things like that. But it's always service accommodation or HMO that we look at as the exits. Like I've done a few like BRR to like where the stack is like standard lets or even social housing kind of things. But I prefer the fact of being like, I don't know, I just can't unsee the fact of how can I get 3 times market rent
at an SA rather
as an SA. Yeah. And it's like, and I know that some people, SA is the riskier strategy. It isn't as like guaranteed as the other ones where certain people's risk tolerance are different and they might like them kind of things where it's like, that's cool. We don't necessarily specialise in it, can do it, but don't specialise in it. But
risk versus reward though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sometimes when you put a higher risk in, the reward is greater. So it's again what people's appetite is.
Yeah.
So it keeps you on your toes a little bit as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's like, again, it's like when I changed my marketing strategy from short-term stays to medium-term stays, I realised that the saturation of what service accommodation and Airbnbs are, that saturation has now gone away because there isn't people that are marketing to just the medium to longer term stays. They'll be like, I'll take anything, I'll take everything.
Yeah.
And the saying that I love is like that you attract what you want and you repel what you don't.
Okay.
It's like if you've got, say, your property based on a 2-night minimum stay for weekend stays and stuff, then you're going to get 2-night stays.
Yeah.
I don't do anything that's less than 7 nights.
Okay.
If you wanted to book my property tomorrow or tonight,
for a minimum of 7.
no, if you wanted to book it tomorrow, you can book it for Friday, Saturday and 2 nights.
Okay.
Anything past a week into the future, you can only book longer than a week.
Okay. So you've got it set where like the shorter term, like if it's not booked for the short term, they can take the short term.
Yeah.
If there is for the future, they've got to take a longer term booking.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good strategy.
Yeah. And I've taken just over 30 grand of longer term bookings. This was all in, literally changed the strategy. Within the next 10 days, I'd admit 30 grand.
Brilliant. And so you obviously, I just heard you said you changed your strategy. So you didn't start off with this strategy.
No.
At first, it was like Airbnb stuff, booking.com, all that kind of stuff. And you go for the short term.
Yeah, so I work with someone to help optimize the listings a little bit more for this. And then, like I say, my background's in marketing, social media and things like that. And I go into the head of the client a lot more. I like to reverse it rather than I want this person to buy. It's like, no, who is that person? What is the name? What is the situation? What TV programs do they want to watch? Like really create like
you tailor it to their
avatar. And then like, if you want a contractor to stay, there's no point going like glamorous apartment kind of thing. There's a pub around the corner and there's some really good takeaways.
That's it.
It's like you're talking to them about what they want.
They want like a B&B, like literally like a bed to sleep in and somewhere to go out to eat.
Yeah.
Pretty much
going to the client, into the client's mind a little bit more and then thinking about that. So it's like being able to, say, using previous experiences and previous history in my life, use it in my background in marketing and my knowledge in marketing to then flip this model around a little bit has been very lucrative. But it just shows that you can't put something on Airbnb or Booking.com and expect it to just be booked.
No.
You need to really focus on what you want and attract what you want, repel what you don't. And if you just try and I want anyone that's going to give me money to book my property.
Yeah. No, it's not going to work. No, it's not going to work. Sounds like you really have taken things to the next level for yourself, especially considering that obviously you was in like a little comfort zone type thing at your old business, right?
Yeah.
It was, you was comfortable doing what you was doing, but it wasn't ticking all the boxes for you, and you wasn't, although you was comfortable with maybe the earnings and stuff, you wasn't comfortable with wearing yourself out, because the ethos of the company, and then you selling your time, and if you want to do the £400 a day, if you're at £40 an hour, you're doing 10 hour days, and sometimes it's going to drive into the ground, and then you've only got a certain amount of time, and you sort of flipped it around, you've gone and educated yourself, and you sort of come into property 10 months ago, and you're doing really well, 30 grand in that short space of time, and we said short bookings, medium stay bookings, which is really good. Where do you see yourself taking your company? Like, what is the next level that you want to do? What's your goal?
It's like, obviously, like the primary focus has been using other people's money, but using the other people's money for them.
Okay.
So obviously, like I said, when I say 30 grand of bookings, I want people to understand that that's turnover. Obviously, there's the rents to come off. There's Airbnb taking their fees and stuff out of there as well, and then there's the cleaning costs and stuff. So my profit of that is probably around 15-16% of that. So, but it's not.
It's not. But obviously, you try to turn over that amount of money. Obviously, people when they go into business in the first year, they might not even turn over that kind of money. But obviously, in a couple of months, to turn it over, obviously, there's going to be margins. Some work, 10 to 30%. Obviously, you're in sort of the middle range. Which is really good. Yeah. Excuse me. But you've got to make your money at the end of the day. So it's not a charity.
Exactly.
Got to understand that.
It's the next point is like using that money that we're making to actually create generational wealth, get into the world of capital appreciation and stuff like that, because obviously generating cash flow and being able to live the life that you want to live, and I love traveling around doing stuff like this and going seeing different people and different properties in different areas, which I do a lot of, but obviously that's not going to get me rich. This is just generating cash flow to let me live the life that I want to live. I want to create generational wealth. I want to have assets upon assets kind of thing. So the next steps is like looking more towards JVing with people and like getting them to work with me on terms of like setting up a company together. They may be putting the money in, and then we're buying properties together, and we're building a company, we're building like assets with a company like that. And then again doing that on my own and my own kind of ones through my own business. Because at the end of the day, it's like generating cash flow is good, and using service accommodation is a great way of doing it. But getting rich comes from holding an asset,
owning assets. Correct. Yes.
And that's where I want to be. And I'm finding more and more people that. So a lot of people start out, they want the rent to rent because they want the cash flow, they want to replace their income and leave the jobs. Whereas like there's certain people that want that capital appreciation. Like I'm happy in my job, I like what I'm doing, I'm not in a good wage. I'm not bothered. I just want to buy an asset to.
Or even sports persons like and stuff. Here, for example, they've got a good salary coming in, so their cash flow is fine, really, and they like doing what they're doing. But then they're thinking, right, like I want to have a long, like I might stop football in 20 years or whatever, and I want to have something to sort of kick back as a retirement. And then
that's I've got a bespoke investor that works with me that was literally like, I want a buy to let that wipes his ass. I don't care. It's like I just want to own it. Like I don't, as long as the rental income covers my mortgage payments and my fees. I ain't bothered, I just want to own it just so I can build my portfolio that way. So I'm like, that's an easy one.
Literally.
Especially when you're like diving into like areas and stuff for service accommodation and making sure that it like needs to work. You need to make sure there's demand, you need to make sure that the cash flow is right,
of course,
and whatnot. It's like there's a lot more going into that than just like buy to lets and stuff.
So are these just your companies alone, or do you have business partners involved in that? I think you said Mitchell, you have one business.
Yeah. So my business partner Dan Jones, he's like the
building side of
things and stuff, like behind the scenes, a lot more contracting and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I like my job is
stick to your strengths. At the end of the day, he's good at that. You're good at that. You come together. You can take 2 steps at a time rather than one step.
Exactly.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So have you guys bought your own bits yet, or are you just sticking to the rent to rent model?
No. So we've got our own rent to rents that like we put our own money into.
Okay.
We're not quite at the point of where we've got enough for the
you're building that, and that's what you're looking to take the company to.
Yeah. And this is the first thing that I've had with the property world. It's like all the other businesses I've kind of seen that there's been like a map, like there's been like, okay, there's this point, I don't really know where I'm going from there.
Yeah.
But then with this, it's been like, okay, here's where I want to be. X marks the spot. this treasure map has got like a perfect line to it, and it's like I know that okay, well my next step's going to be this, next step's going to be that, next step's going to be that, and kind of you get bigger and bigger and bigger in the projects. And I've seen it in sourcing and stuff. Like I've just sourced a block of flats for an investor, which was a considerable sourcing fee. And it's like when you're looking at a £3,000 sourcing fee versus what I'm getting paid for sourcing a full block, which is 15,000. It was like the same.
Units.
Yeah, it's the same 11 units in that block. So it's like it's the same work that's going into the actual agreement and negotiation.
Yeah.
But
because it's one deal, isn't it? It's one deal that you're having to do. Put two people together and negotiate, but you're getting a bigger chunk.
You're getting a bigger chunk from it.
So five times the amount, right?
Yeah, 5 times the amount for like the same. Well, it's a little bit more work, but you expect that, but not in considerate. So 5 times the work.
No, maybe twice the amount.
Yeah.
But it's all relevant.
Yeah. So it's just working on the bigger and bigger things as it goes. And as my reputation builds and more people work with me, then the better.
You're definitely heading in the right direction, Adam. You started with a bang by the sounds of things from everything I've seen on social media, hence why I invited you down. And like I said, we like to meet, network and grow with people. Obviously, you're a completely different area. I know you want to expand your area. So, if we get stuff down here that you maybe have the investors for, we can always try and sell it to you.
That's exactly
or get some stuff together and vice versa, But no, definitely, thank you very much for coming down. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you. And guys, obviously, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like and comment. Adam's dropped some serious gems, and we have many more guests to come, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one.